That little high banker over there is actually really well designed. The problem I had was the matting was terrible. I made a full video of that I'll link in the description if you want to check that out, but the main issue was these riffles here. These are called Raptor flares from what the internet has told me, and apparently you're meant to trim them down yourself. But the idea of buying a $700 high banker that comes with matting in it that's meant to work straight off the bat, then you find out you have to trim these down yourself somehow and not stuff it up in any way, shape or form, otherwise you're going to have to replace the mat anyway. It's kind of like buying a $100 steak at a 5-star restaurant and then they get you to cook your steak. It's not what you paid for. Anyway, we're going to be replacing that terrible matting with something that works in almost every single situation. This is called expanded mesh. You can buy all different sizes of it at metal fabrication shops. And this is mid-length AstroTurf. Literally the same stuff you'd see on a golf course or rich people's fancy lawns because they like too lazy to mow or some shit. This was a 10-inch wide sheet. That sluice box is 5 inches wide. I've doubled the mesh. That gives me more depth, creating more friction and better gold recovery. So this should slide straight in. Most excellent. Okay, now we're going to cut the piece of carpet to a very imprecise measurement. This is Spud Engineering, remember? Somewhere about there. Oh, like a glove. For context, I have basically every type of matting ever made on this shelf. And I have Dream Mat. I have the microcell stuff here. And I will be cutting a sheet of this to use in it as a cleanup box. But this stuff is definitely not designed for processing raw material out in the field. Therefore, I'm not going to be using that for that purpose. But I will be cutting a 5-inch wide sheet of the mini cell Dream Mat, which in my personal opinion is the best type of Dream Mat on the market. Now this is never going to see a terrible amount of wear, so we're just going to use cable ties to hold it together. If this was going in a big high banker where massive rocks are going to be running over it and a huge quantity of soil was also going to be traveling over it, I would be using wire to bind this together. I have to make a trip to the hardware store to buy the right hardware. I need bolts, I need wing nuts to do a few other modifications to this, add another sheet of aluminium. But for today, we're bodging it together because I just want to run that and see what kind of improvement it has or hasn't made to the setup. So we're keeping it really simple, stupid. I've got a couple of spare alligator clips from an old battery system, and they have enough spring tension in them to keep that mesh down. Now because we've only got tension here and it's friction fit in under this plate up here, we're going to get a banana effect because it's only pinched at those 2 points. So what we're going to do is put a recurve in that piece of steel. And that way, when this slides in and I tension it down with these clips, it sits flat. There are 2 issues with this hopper box. These Grizzly bars are set too far forward. That's dropping water and rocks onto the matting. You don't want that. You want the water and rocks to drop at the back of your sluice so they start to stratify with as much length as possible. That's what's going to recover your gold. To do that, we're going to drill 2 holes here, get a sheet of L-folded aluminium. So we're going to have a short 1-inch bend, and then it's going to come to a flat sheet of aluminium that's going to drive all of that concentrate to the back of the sluice. That is a project for another day. I don't yet have that material here. It's not going to make too much of a difference, but we have to reduce the overall size. This is running 1/2 inch, and that is too big of a rock for such a small sluice box. So we're going to reduce that down to 1/4. When I get the materials to add the dirt chute to the back, I may actually replace this to some kind of perforated mesh. Don't think of the Mini Monster as a high banker like you would think of that. Think of it as a river sluice that doesn't make you classify. It is legitimately going to save you more time. You're going to end up processing more dirt, not because of the capacity of the machine, but simply because you don't have to do one of the most time-consuming steps. And you can run it almost anywhere, unlike River Sluice where you have to have drop in the creek. Right, I'm going to take that bad boy out. That video will be up on my main channel in the near future, so please keep an eye out for that one. But until then, please give your dog a big scratch behind the ears while we let you know what you think about the Mini Monster below and any questions you may have about the modifications I've made. Peace, and I'm out.